Hi, everybody. Can I just ask everyone to loosen up their shoulders a little bit? I know you've been sitting for a long time. Sorry, I'm an event facilitator, so you're going to see me try to wow you with my facilitation skills. Just shake it off a little bit. It's been a long day. So what the heck is Love Doctor? Yes, it's a name that makes you raise your eyebrows and hopefully makes your heart go pitter-pat. But beyond that, Love Doctor is sex education and healthy relationship advice for the digital age. So we are a platform that allows youth to ask us questions one-on-one to experts, confidentially, about love, relationships, and sexual health. All taboo topics, especially in India. Especially, you know that people are searching on the internet for stuff, and so it's a natural market. Let me tell you about some people that we've had the privilege of talking to on our platform. The first is Rati. So she and her partner had sex recently, and they were trying to have safer sex. They used a condom, but unfortunately the condom broke. And then they were like, oh shit. Sorry, I said shit, but oh shit. It was an oh shit moment, and a couple of weeks later, she missed her period. And she was really concerned that she was pregnant. And she came onto the platform and she was able to talk to a Love Doctor counselor about it. The second is Raghav. So Raghav's friends have told him that masturbation causes pimples and weakness, and he's a little scared because obviously he's been doing some things in his free time. The third is Sonia. Please go ahead and laugh, it's funny. It's funny. The third is Sonia. So Sonia's case is not unique. She really loves her boyfriend. But recently, he's started to drink a little bit. He's even pushed her a couple of times on occasion. And she wants to know if she can do something to make him happy and improve the relationship. And she's, scratching her head trying to make everything work. But he just seems to keep getting angrier and angrier. And the fourth is Ashish. Ashish is really scared because he's started becoming attracted to men. And he knows with all this legal stuff in India and how people perceive gays, he's really worried that people are not going to accept him for who he is. So before I move any further, I want to talk about myself. So obviously I'm the Love Doctor. I'm Avni, and I have about 14 years of experience in the nonprofit and social enterprise sector across all kinds of verticals. Clean energy, violence against women, you name it, I've probably done it. But what I'm best in the world at is creating spaces for information and connection, spaces that never existed before. And I've done this several times for several different things. For example, I created the Delhi Social Entrepreneurship Meetup, which now has 4,000 plus members. So that's just an example. And, sorry about that, Nacho, or Jose Ignacio, is my right-hand man. So he's not here today, he actually sits in Mexico City, but he is in charge of strategy and operations for us. And he is best in the world at making models, especially broken models, work through innovation and partnership. So he's a business expert. In addition, we have counselors in our content team. So how do we give all this lovely advice, right? It's not just me sitting on my phone giving answers over WhatsApp. I have 6 wonderful people, 2 interns, 2 professional counselors by training, and 2 psychology master's students who have come on board to provide this advice. And we want to grow this team, and that's why we need your help. In addition to this, we also have an advisory board with 3 very well-known psychologists and 1 gynecologist. And these, we're actually going to be training the advisory board for supervision of the counselors at a later stage. So why do we need Love Doctor? Want to take any guesses? Why is this important? Talk to me. Does anybody care? Okay, probably not. All right, let me tell you why. In December 2012, India blew up. What happened in Delhi? Nirbhaya. And all of a sudden, we had a public discourse about sexual violence in India for the first time. We weren't ever talking about this. But for me, how can you talk about sexual violence without talking about what is healthy sexuality? What is a healthy relationship? What is healthy love? What is it supposed to look like, right? Aren't those 2 sides of the same coin? So that's the first important reason. The second reason is that sex education is a basic human right as mandated by the United Nations, and India is wholeheartedly ignoring this. How many of you have had sex education in your school? Raise your hand. Wow, quite a few of you compared to, okay, did the sex education actually provide you with information that was useful? Raise your hand.
You don't remember, I was just making jokes.
Okay, all right. Did it scare the crap out of you? Okay, so it's odd that even if you did have sex education that it was really useful. Studies show that sex education actually helps to delay the onset of sexual activity, and it actually helps you make better decisions about your sexual health. Things like maybe you would opt to use a condom when you had sexual intercourse instead of just letting it hang in the wind. Those types of things. The third thing, which is really important to me, is that girls in India and across the world are reaching sexual maturity faster. At 10 years old, your 10-year-old daughter may start menstruating, which leaves her at risk for pregnancy, for sexually transmitted diseases, for all kinds of other things. And if you know sort of about because my background is in violence against women, if you know something about the incidence of childhood sexual abuse, it's 1 in 4 people. So these are our kids that are at risk because they don't know how to protect their bodies. They don't know what's not good touch and bad touch. Let's talk a little bit about the market opportunity. I don't have fancy big numbers and cores for you, but I can tell you what's practical and what's real. There are 453 million youth in this country. This is one of the youngest countries in the world. Agreed? We're all really young in this room, even those of us that are not so young like me. But 1 out of 5 of those guys have a smartphone, and the rest of them probably have a dumb phone that can SMS, right? So that's a market. We talked about building solutions and then taking it to people and expecting them to adopt it. I'm talking about using what is already in your hand, your phone, and bringing a solution to you via something that you're already using. In addition, radio love guru shows are getting N numbers of calls every single time they have a show, but they're not able to answer all of them, right? How many of us have tried to call that show and just heard a beeping noise because it was busy? And Mahinder Watsa of the Mumbai Mirror, let's not forget him and his funny answers about sex. People are writing into him all the time, and people like him because they want answers. In addition to this, we're all actively on the internet searching for sex. India is 5th in the world at accessing porn. A lot of our young people are actually learning about sexual health through porn. And what kind of messages is porn giving young people? They're having body image issues, they're getting unrealistic expectations for their first sexual encounters, all of that. And e-commerce sites selling sexual health and wellness products are doing really well. So Oh My Wellness is getting 15,000 site visitors a day with very little marketing. The funny thing is, none of those people really know how to use the things that they're buying. Who's going to teach them? We are. So, how do we offer services? Text, chat, and WhatsApp. And we have an app in the works, so pretty soon you'll be able to have a love doctor on your phone. So how do we work? Our portal is really simple. Youth, these cute dancing people in the corner, use their computers or their phones to access either our SMS portal, to WhatsApp us, or to get onto our chat site. They get to ask a question directly to trained counselors, doctors, medical students, psychology students, and then they get an answer back in the same method that they asked the question. So what are the most covered topics? You can see right here, abuse, depression, breakups, suicide, communication between partners, how to make your relationship more fulfilling, rape. We've had a 16-year-old rape victim that could only access us via SMS, and we were the only person that she was talking to. That's when this got real for me, when I realized that this is not something fluffy. These topics are life and death for people. If you know friends that have been depressed because of a breakup, their work is affected, their job is affected, sometimes they even kill themselves. Not to be morbid, but there's more to it than just fluffy people running around a tree and singing to each other. For sexual health, we talk about sexually transmitted infections, AIDS, erectile dysfunction, body image issues, some of these things stemming from overuse of porn. And we're really different than what's already out there, guys. So what's already out there are a number of NGOs that are working primarily at the base of the pyramid. What about all of us that are middle class, right? I know that I'm middle class and no NGO ever came to my neighborhood to tell me about safer sex and healthy relationships. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. I'm sure all of us had. I could have used a friend to talk to throughout my lifetime. We also offer as close to real-time services as possible. So if you hit us when our platform is live, you can talk to a counselor immediately. If we're offline during that time, and we hope to never be offline eventually if we get some funding, then we'll return the answer the next day. We also have paid counselors and not volunteers. And the reason why I'm saying this is a distinction is because I come from the domestic violence sector, and in the US, we basically armed our hotline with only volunteers, which left our hotline at risk for when a volunteer didn't want to show up, or if they made a mistake, then a staff had to come in and fix it. And we also comprehensively train our counselors, and we gradually stair-step them into responsibilities. So I personally have trained this batch of 6 counselors, but I'm hoping that when we build a team, we can automate it and do online learning and help bring more and more counselors and psychologists onto the platform. In addition, I told you we're meeting people where they are. Everyone's got a phone or access to a phone. Not everyone may have a laptop or something like that, so we want to build a tool that's already going to be usable in your hand. We're building an app. A lot of NGOs and other competitors don't have an app, and the clincher is that 88% of people on the internet in India are using local languages. They're using the internet in Gujarati, in Marathi, in Tamil, in Telugu, in Kannada. And we can actually bring on counselors that can serve them so that the information is not in English where it's easy to make mistakes in understanding. So what's our business model? What's the bottom line? How do we want to make money? For the price of a samosa and a Coke, you can get a monthly subscription to the Love Doctor's chat counseling services. So for about 50 rupees a month, we're guessing right now that people will actually pay to get counseling. Now, of course, right now on our platform, all counseling is free. So we're just trying to see how people use the service. This is a beta stage, but eventually we'd like to charge for some measure of service. Maybe not your first chat, maybe not your second, but maybe your third and moving forward. How are we going to charge for this? Because I know you guys are going to ask this question. There's a payment gateway called PayChamp, which allows us to take the money off the mobile phone. So for the same mechanism that you would use to buy a caller tune, we can just deduct the balance from your mobile balance, and easily you can get Love Doctor services. The second way is Google AdWords, ads embedded and relevant ads. Ads that actually increase our health outcomes, right? Maybe ads for Durex condoms, ads in our chats, ads on our IVR, ads on our SMS platform, ads on our content, right? We have a blog, we just pop some ads in there. Every time somebody reads about how to communicate and tell a girl that they like them, we're going to get an ad impression. The third is affiliate marketing for health and sexual wellness products. So if My Dermacy decides to sell sexual wellness products on their platform through e-commerce model, then we could affiliate with Ankit and we could get a link and then we could get a percentage. See, it's done. The deal is done already. And the fourth and fifth. So the fourth is real world activities. I'm going to come to your campus. I'm going to come to your school. We're going to do seminars. We're going to tie up with school health programs. Love Doctor can be the mental health screening provider for these school health programs. We can also do some real world seminars, pre-dating, pre-marriage. There's no local love guru in town doing any of this stuff. We can do that. And the fifth is data. Data is king and queen. And we would be the premier portal that has access to sexual health and relationship data for Indian youth and beyond once we become a global platform. I don't think anyone else can say this, not even public health programs. So the revenues you're not going to be able to see. So let me just tell you the highlights. Here's the deal. At the end of 12 months, this is not counting app revenue, this is not counting SMS revenue. We hope to make about $50,000 US. If I hire full-time 6 more counselors, at the end of 12 months, we're still making about $38,000 US. That's not including revenues that will be added from the app or anything else. I think that's a pretty good bottom line for a social project. What do you think?
That left, please.
Okay, so this is our revenue breakdown. Right now, without the app and the chat, you can see that it's mainly from the real world stuff. This is expenses to net income. In month 12, we're looking good. And in less than a year, we've answered about 30,000 questions. We're serving about 250 people a day. We hope to grow that and ratchet that up. But ultimately, we're just trying to get a foothold and be out in the world more. What are our future plans? We want to change the world one healthy relationship at a time. And in the future, because youth trust us, this platform can be used for any type of one-on-one counseling. It can be used for career counseling. It can be used for other type of medical counseling because trust me, the kids that are coming to us are not going to doctors. They're too embarrassed. They're too embarrassed about everything. They're asking me about dermatology issues. They're asking me about pain in their leg. They're asking me about pimples. They're asking me about all kinds of stuff. So I would like to build a team with funding from HealthStart. So hopefully you guys can bless me with some support so that I can really ratchet this up and grow. We want to go global. So we're already getting 15% of traffic organically from Africa. They're searching for Love Doctor on the internet and they're finding us. And I think that the sky is the limit. Everybody has these questions. They just have no place to go. So if you want to do something that's never been done before, you have to try something new. And that's what we're trying to do. That is Love Doctor. That is who we are. Thanks.
Thank you. Questions from the jury?
Well, first of all, I must applaud your clear thinking and I don't know what to call it, courage or just dedication to humanity that you have taken on a off the beaten track opportunity here. So the question to you is, there are two questions. First of all, whenever you talk about one-on-one counseling and so forth, it is not easily scalable because your number of patients will, it's a good problem to have, but it will nevertheless be a problem where the number of people seeking your or coming to you will be much more than what you can serve. So that can be a negative thing because people will say, why go there because you'll never find anyone to help you. The other thing is you've talked about going global intentionally or unsolicited, and there are cultural contexts to your responses. What you tell a teenager in Norway is different than what you can tell a teenager in India than Africa. So how do you prepare yourself for that? Because you don't want to tell something that you would tell a Norwegian teenager, same thing to a Nigerian teenager.
These are fantastic questions. So in regard to the first question about how we're going to get around this cumbersomeness of this one-on-one thing, we already use efficiencies in our system. We have templated answers. So a lot of our questions are really basic. Okay, so I'd say about 70 to 80% of people are asking me if masturbation is bad for them. We have a templated answer for that. We have a link to our content partner, which is Love Matters. They get that and that's sent immediately. I hope that in phase 2, so if we do phase 1 of app development, in phase 2 we want to introduce some measure of artificial intelligence. I want the machine to learn how to answer questions and then be able to apply a real world person to problems. Not all of the tools that we have will require one-on-one. For example, I'm in discussions right now with a company called OnMobile for a global SMS platform and an IVR platform, most of which will be automatic. And for premium level of service, it's one-on-one. So we would build a call center for that. In terms of the cultural nuances, I agree with you. And even from different regions of India and in Africa, right? So we're serving people from Nigeria, we're serving people from Kenya. I personally know those contexts because I've lived and worked in Kenya. But what we do is then we source local counselors. So Love Doctor's platform becomes like a traditional healthcare delivery platform. I think how we're going to pivot is right now the counselors are anonymous, like you don't know who you're talking to, but at some point in time, like if you've seen My Dermacy, you know exactly which doctor you're talking to, and you can choose based on your geographic specificity who to talk to. And our back end would also route efficiently and appropriately. So we want to build all that, and I have right now putting the team together to do that.
How do you facilitate anonymous payments?
So we're not going to do anonymous payments, and I'll tell you why. Because you can't really do that. And the second reason that I know of, so PayChamp, like I said, takes payments off the mobile phone. The second reason is because people are already asking me questions in the open on WhatsApp. And so once you get rid of that initial fear of, oh, somebody's going to talk about what I'm asking, if you assure people that they're talking to competent professionals who would never share their information, and that's the core of the business, which it is. That's really important to me. Then people don't seem to have a problem. So in fact, many people come onto our platform asking first, how much do you charge? And they're very happy when they say, at least initially, we're not charging anything, but we may in the future.
Is there any regulation on counseling in India?
So my lawyers have said no, and we have plenty of legalese on our website to ensure that we're not indemnified for anything that occurs. So the deal is that let me specify what counseling means. Counseling means when you come to me with a problem, I'm not giving you gyan. I'm not saying, Baba, go and break up with your girlfriend. She just sounds like she's vela. Okay, I don't say that. Our counselors say, how do you feel about this situation? Based on what you've told me, it sounds like you're upset. Have you considered talking to her? It's never something that comes from us. It's always something that comes from them. So it's a reflection. Counseling is a reflection mechanism. And so that's the difference between me and Mahinder Watsa. I don't tell anyone what to do. Sexual health is black and white. Use a condom, dude, right? But not the counseling part. You're really encouraging a discussion. And our voice is the best friend that asks you the hard questions. So when you come to me, I'm like your chuddy buddy that basically is the one that always like makes you a little uncomfortable because he says, yeah, but why are you doing that? We act like that, very lovingly, but that's the style.
But you don't get into a patient-counselor relationship,
No.
like a patient-doctor relationship.
No, no. Yeah, and so according to my lawyers, that's not an issue.
Yeah, hi. It's a pretty, it's a good model, Avni. There are two questions related to this. Now, question number one is related to, have you considered competitors? So, a typical service that you already get on the internet is those, n number of sites which actually kind of give these kind of, advices, and they are your competitors. Have you considered them? That's one part of the question. Question number two is something that, kind of came out earlier. Look, counseling is good, but if you look at this from a science point of view, psychology point of view, counseling involves a lot more than just, a dialogue. Counseling also involves sitting across, with the patient. There are nuances. There is definitely a relationship that actually develops between a doctor, a psychologist, and the client. And a lot of in a lot of these cases, and I'm not sure what kind of cases you're getting, but a lot of these patients may probably be requiring much more than just a WhatsApp counseling. Now, how do you handle that part? How do you handle the aftermath of,
I agree.
The continuum of care, so to say?
So something that's really important to me as a counselor and as a social activist is not making people dependent on Love Doctor. So I know that goes against like any type of revenue strategy, but that's important to me as a person. That's how I'm built. I don't want anyone to have us be the only place that they can go to. So we do that in another phase with real world tie-ups. So I'll give you an example. Recently, so you guys may know that it's very difficult for women to get proper gynecological care in India, especially if you're sexually active and you're not married, right? So there's a lot of judgment that goes on with that. Gynaes are sometimes not very friendly. They ask intrusive questions, and it scares women so much that they never want to go back. They never go back to ask questions about contraception. They don't get the proper pelvic exams. So there are initiatives already in place to crowdsource a list of friendly gynecologists. We include people like that on our platform, and we do a referral service. So we can actually also bring those doctors onto our platforms, right, by actually having them fully use their personality and not be anonymous. But I do believe in that continuum of care, and I see that as a later strategy. But I would like to address something. The people that are coming to me are not talking to their doctors anyway. They're not getting any type of mental health care. They're not even open to it. They're too scared. So is it better that we address some measure and allow them some measure of comfort than nothing? I think the first is better, that we create a platform first and then we build that seamless continuum of care. But these are great questions. I really appreciate that.
Okay. So you must have heard that a few weeks ago, the infidelity website Ashley Madison got hacked, and I'm sure a lot of people are probably sweating right now. So the same could happen to anyone, including your offering. So just wanted to caution you on that, because if people are exchanging WhatsApp messages with you, it's very easy to publish that list, and then people can get into trouble.
I agree. So WhatsApp is a temporary stopgap. I'll tell you what I use it primarily for now, which I'll transition to more fully. I've piloted, so I'm a lean startup Jugaad kind of entrepreneur. I'm Gujarati, so this should be no surprise. So we are doing, we're sending tips. So I send one tip a day to my distribution list, which has about 200 young people and growing every day. And it allows for more engagement around content, but I'm just testing it. And eventually I want to completely phase out the counseling on WhatsApp, because frankly speaking, I just started it because that was the easiest way for me to start in September. We're doing a proof of concept, but I do want to keep it for things like content and maybe integrate those functions into the app and let it go completely. It could just be my business phone, but that's great. So somebody has suggested that maybe I incorporate in Singapore, house all my data there, and then have a Fort Knox type security around it. Encrypt actually do a lot of encryption. So my AI specialist who may come on board to do all of our artificial intelligence work is also a specialist in encryption. And so these are the things that we're talking about. So we're thinking ahead.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next.